Ivanka, New Year, Paris, The Looking Glass. Let's get into it. Ivanka posts a series of photos from Paris. Standing on top of the Eiffel Tower, looking through this telescope thing, standing in front of a giant clock in an all-black outfit. Mona Lisa with Jared, having lunch or breakfast outside. So I looked into it, and it hit me because Q just took photos of the Eiffel Tower a couple weeks before that. So I'm thinking, all right, there's got to be something here. So then it hit me. The book, A Race Around the World. Let me read a little bit of this for you. In 1889, New York reporter Nellie Bly, inspired by Jules Verne's Around the World in 80 Days, began a circumnavigation she hoped to complete in less time. Her trip was sponsored by her employer, The World. Just hours after her ship set out across the Atlantic, another New York publication put writer Elizabeth Bisland on a westbound train. Bisland was heading around the world in the opposite direction, thinking she could beat Bly's time. Only one woman could win the race, but both completed their journeys in record time. So, record time, you got Ivanka standing in front of the clock, right? So that's, I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool, but what drew me to the book was what they were wearing. And if you look at what Ivanka's wearing on top of the Eiffel Tower, she's wearing the exact same jacket as the character in the book, A Race Around the World. And behind her on the covers, they have a picture, or a clock behind these characters, and they're literally trying to beat time. So, Looking Glass, time, you've got this anomaly with this coincidence of the jacket. But now you open up the book. Now let's flip to some pages in the book, and what do we have here? The main character getting off at the train station and just happened to be wearing the exact same outfit that Ivanka is wearing in front of the clock tower. I mean, that's 2 for 2. That's insane. I mean, there's definitely a connection here of some sort of coincidence. But wait, let's see what else we can do with this. Now back to the cover of the book. I mean, look at the sky in the background. It's practically the same sky as in the Paris photos from Ivanka's Instagram. Again, probably just purely coincidental. You have Ivanka's Instagram with Jared looking at the mirror, the glass. I mean, literally the looking glass, okay? The yellow background, and she just happens to write, reflecting on a new year with the yellow heart. Now, why the yellow heart? Yellow heart is Q in the color code. We've seen Melania do this with the yellow dress, and now Ivanka with the yellow heart. Again, signaling Q, the color. Now, with all this going on with the Instagram photos and the Looking Glass ideas and all kinds of stuff like that, the clothing, time travel, how do we take all that and connect it to a Q post, okay? Now, Ivanka's Instagram posted at 5:48 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. There just happens to be a Q post with the words "Racing Around the World" in it. The date of that Q post is May 4th, 2018, which is 5/4/8. And it's Q post 1317, which has to do with John Kerry secretly meeting with Iran to salvage a deal. This is the same time period where Iran was having all kinds of stuff going on with Soleimani and it was in the news. So I was like, okay, that's relevant. But look at this. Riri drops today. JK and Iran. Important context for future news. Why is Hussein JK traveling worldwide, and meeting with foreign heads of state, some enemies of the U.S.? HRC BC flying under the radar, same unreported. Why? 2. Former President's Secretary of State's out of power authority racing around the world. Pre-post POTUS. Why? Unprecedented? The world is connected. The world is watching. Q. And you have to remember that John Kerry met with those Iranians in Paris, nonetheless, okay, Karazi, and which undermined the Logan Act back in May 13th, 2018, which is, 8 days after this Q post? Let's jump back inside the book. There's a photo of a train in the lower corner, okay? This train looks familiar. Charles Delskow was one of America's earliest known visionary artists who created drawings, collages, and watercolors of airplanes, airships, and bound them in 12 known large scrapbooks that were discovered decades after his death. Now, within its collection of the series is a few that stood out. One was a drawing of Homer Trump, and it shows these aircrafts, okay? So, Homer Trump, what's that? I don't know. But, look at this one. It's a train with the name Trump on it from the 1920s. I mean, this almost looks identical to the train that's in this book, Race Around the World. But if you look closer, there's a boy in the window. Baron? I don't know. And look at the front of the train. Does that not look like a Trump? I mean, the face, the yellow hair, holding something. But it's just interesting that this name Trump, it's a train, and there's two characters in it that look really, really familiar. I'll definitely have to do another video on this Delkow character, this artist, and the connections between the time period, what was going on, a certain aero club which had elitist engineers, scientists, private funding, where some of this experimental aircraft might have been actually been built. So I'll have to get into that a little bit later. Now, you can't forget the previous book, Barron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, which just happens to have to do with a young fellow embarks on time-traveling adventures through human history, named Barron Trump, who is led by someone named Don, and is written, coincidentally, by someone named Ingersoll Lockwood. Ingersoll, as in the watch, Alice in Wonderland, which coincidentally is placed at 45 John Street in New York, has watches named Trump in the collection of watches, has the name Keystone in the collection of watches, and yeah, just coincidentally, Ivanka's hinting at this other book which has to do with racing around the world and time. So what does this all mean? I'm under the impression that the Trump family has had this technology, Looking Glass, quantum teleportation, any sort of chronovision, since, John Trump's the uncle got the Tesla papers. And they've been using this to save America, save the world, and that maybe Trump's children are using this technology, and we're starting to see this mix in with today's timeline through these hints in the books in the past. And like I said, none of this would have been possible without Q saying Project Looking Glass, going forward in order to look back. Time travel is fun. So there's a lot of things coming up, and I think we got to keep our eyes open to this. And I know a lot of people don't want to believe it. It's hard to believe, and you're crazy. But, I mean, imagine the technology through DARPA, through secret programs of history. The technology that's been suppressed is starting to come to light. And I think that's what Space Force is going to do, and Donald Trump's second term, is we're going to start seeing, hopefully, some of this technology emerge. Through the Looking Glass, further beyond. Let's start where we left off. The jacket from the cover, identical to that of Ivanka on top of the Eiffel Tower looking through the glass. Also, the hair. Same hair. Let's go to the glove. Look at the glove. Same gloves. One last thing. Look at those boots. Looks familiar, doesn't it? Now let's jump back to the Paris picture where she's standing in front of the clock. Let's mirror that. Look at the time. She's pointing to the spot right between the 3 and the 2. Now the most powerful image in the collection from Paris was the one where she's standing on top of the Eiffel Tower, staring into the light and arms out. Where have we seen this before? I don't know, Donald Trump's Twitter banner? Ivanka's photo of her child in a Star Wars costume? General Flynn's Twitter banner? Arms out. What does it mean? What do you do before jumping out of the aircraft? Put your arms out and you yell, Geronimo! Geronimo? We've seen this before in the Q post. For God and country, for humanity, Geronimo, Q. Geronimo equals jump. What is jump? A jumper. A person teleports by essentially opening a rift in the fabric of reality. In reality, passages across space and time, dubbed wormholes, could theoretically exist, and going into one mouth of a wormhole could spit you out of another instantaneously. Why does Q refer to many Hollywood movies throughout their posts? What does it mean? It means those at the top of the pyramid, Hollywood and the cabal, use movies to condition society for future events. Q post 749. Coincidence the Matrix movie grew people as a crop, used for energy and controlled their mind? Sound familiar? Wonder where they derived that idea from. Now comes the conspiracy label. Deeper we go, the more unrealistic it all becomes. The end won't be for everyone. That choice to know will be yours. Q. Hollywood has been creating time travel movies since the beginning to acclimate and prime the public for future technologies yet suppressed. Movies like Donnie Darko discussing wormholes and the philosophy of time travel. The film Stargate that shows an Einstein-Rosen bridge portal device that can transport humans between two different locations. But one from 2008 titled Jumper caught my eye. Let me tell you about my day so far. Coffee in Paris. Look at that, Paris. Surfed the Maldives. Took a little nap on Kilimanjaro. Oh yeah, I got digits from this Polish chick in Rio. And then I jumped back for the final quarter of the NBA Finals. Courtside, of course. And all that before lunch. I could go on, but all I'm saying is I'm standing on top of the world. Top of the world? Take a look at the artwork from the poster. Look familiar? Jumper. Paris. Eiffel Tower. Another poster from the movie Jumper. Look familiar? The clock. How many coincidences before it becomes mathematically impossible? Now let's jump back to General Flynn's Twitter account with a jumper on the banner. Wouldn't it be amazing if General Flynn could give us some sort of communication regarding jumping and time travel? September 8th, 2018, General Flynn likes a tweet that's titled, "Is this proof Donald Trump is a time traveler?" Boom. Do you believe in coincidences? Relevant to future upcoming events. How many coincidences before mathematically impossible? It was over before it began. Q. Seems to be that if you want to time travel, the place to be is the Eiffel Tower in Paris. From Disney's Tomorrowland. Using a teleportation device, the trio traveled to the top of the Eiffel Tower. Frank explains that Gustave Eiffel, Jules Verne, Nikola Tesla, and Thomas Edison co-founded Plus Ultra, a secret society of futurists, creating Tomorrowland in another dimension, free to make scientific breakthroughs without obstruction. The trio used an antique rocket hidden beneath the Eiffel Tower called the Spectacle to travel to Tomorrowland. Now let's jump back to January 18, 2017. Donald J. Trump tweets, writing my inaugural address at the Winter White House, Mar-a-Lago, 3 weeks ago. Looking forward to Friday. Check the notepad. It's curled up, it's hidden, you can't see it. Look in the background. What do you see? Plus, Ultra. It's interesting that the boss would mention 3 weeks ago and then looking forward to Friday. Sounds like time shift talk to me. Q Post 3585, November 11th, 2019. Project Looking Glass, going forward in order to look back. Q. Jumping 1 year later from the day at Mar-a-Lago. Q Post 543, January 18th, 2018. The Great Awakening. Q. Let's not forget New Year's Eve at Mar-a-Lago. Yep, those tiles look familiar, huh? What is plus ultra? Plus ultra is a Latin phrase meaning further beyond. It was taken from the personal model of Charles V from the 1500s. Here we can see plus ultra inscribed on the ceiling of Charles V's palace in southern Spain, the Alhambra. Why the plus ultra tiles in the background at Mar-a-Lago? Was John G. Trump, the uncle of Donald Trump, part of this club? The White Hats chose John Trump to go in and grab the papers, knowing that they contain information that could lead to the end of the world, including blueprints for a theoretical time machine. Plus Ultra motto is Cras est Noster, meaning the future is ours. It is claimed that Plus Ultra members call themselves Optimists have also kept secret technology just like the Cabal did, and now they're using it to bring the Cabal down. Now let's jump back to September 5th, 2015. Donald Trump tweets, Hillary Clinton made a speech today using the biggest teleprompter I've ever seen. In fact, it wasn't even see-through glass. It was black. Countless times Q has reminded us that they never thought she was going to lose. But she was so confident. Her looking glass was turned off. Happy birthday to this future president. HRC was so arrogant and so wrong. She didn't realize that the world has changed and the old rules don't apply anymore. Patriots are now in control and protected under the armor of God. Sorry, HRC, but timelines change. Now let's jump back to Ivanka's Instagram. What do you notice in these photos? Yeah, they're all symmetrical, right down the middle. You can literally mirror it, and it would be the same. Think, mirror. You know, it's interesting that 3 weeks before Ivanka's photos from Paris, Q-Team was there. Eiffel Tower. Mirrored. Donald Trump and the Q-Team are using looking glass technology to view events from the future and the past in order to create the best probable future for our current timeline. Now let's jump back to the 1920s visionary American artist Charles Delskow. Even the Trump train is mirrored. The artwork is numbered 45 in the series. Another coincidence. A red, white, and blue flag behind the Trump name. Even the artist's initials, CAAD, is mirrored. Now to the front of the train. This character who resembles Donald Trump is holding something. It looks like a bag. You've seen this before. Gobekli Tepe, the mysterious handbag. It seems appropriate that one would need a bag while traveling. Now let's jump back, December 14, 2016, Donald Trump's thank you tour.
Melania, right? Do we love Melania? Boom, the escalator.
Check it. Arms out, Geronimo. Boom, air cue.
Boom, the escalator.
The escalator.
Boom, the escalator.
Now let's jump back to the 1920s with this Homer Trump artwork from Del's Cow. Homer? Homer?
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
President Trump mentioned 16 years in the past? Jump ahead 15 years to 2015. After Donald Trump's famous escalator ride, The Simpsons feature Homer, Homer, as he appears to get sucked into his head like a wormhole. The boss and the Q team always tell us the future proves past and how many coincidences before it's mathematically impossible. Interesting on the wall tiles is a Time magazine next to the Plus Ultra tile. Time? January 16th of 2020, Ivanka's Instagram shows Jared on the cover of Time magazine. Look at the pose by Jared. We've seen this before. Yup. Ivanka's Instagram in front of the clock in Paris. It's time. Now let's jump forward to January 22nd, 2020. Q post 3782. Castle. Clean. Q. Look at the photo, guys. Symmetrical. Mirror. Posing in castle formation. Q says reflections are important. Check it. See the hat? Q. The castle is clean. Ivanka in Davos, putting forward for the bright future. What does this all mean? A time shift reminder from Q. Q post 3800 from January 28, 2020. Anon's found a subtle hint dropped in the beginning. Think germ start. Think Q start. You have more than you know. Q.
To work on things that you'll be hearing about in the near future, that even today, sitting here right now, you wouldn't believe it's possible that we have found the answers. You'll be hearing about it, but we have found answers to things that people said would not be possible, certainly not in a very short period of time.
I will tell you this with great certainty, the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come.